Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
I want to thank the listeners and viewers of Infowars. And on this Thanksgiving and this Black Friday that's coming up, we're going to extend free shipping store-wide to people specifically that have the promo code FREE.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the attacks at us here at Infowars.com, the attacks at you, the Trump supporters, are at full force right now. Of course, we've seen the fake news that's been pushed for the last 2 weeks, and now they're really trying to taint the alt-right by saying that we're racist and all of these other attacks on our character without any proof at all. Now, last night on CNN with Don Lemon, probably the worst host on the mainstream news, and that is saying a lot. Don Lemon wanted to really make the alt-right look bad. He really wanted to smear the alt-right last night on his news program with, of course, David Gergen, one of the other talking heads that they put on there at CNN. We got some highlights from that. We're going to respond to the claims they made against the alt-right and their propaganda. Let's roll the first video.
I want to talk about the alt-right. I want to ask you about this. Members of the alt-right, really a euphemism for white supremacists. I guess it's just their new name now. They've rebranded themselves.
No, you are the ones that branded us that. I don't know where this whole alt-right thing originated. Of course, the thought of the alt-right is that we are of the political right in that thought paradigm, the political left versus right, but we're not the neocons. We're not the establishment right. We're just conservatives that don't go along with the establishment. But somehow they put this term alt-right on us. That's their label. And now Don Lemon is going to use that as a blanket statement for anybody who supports Donald Trump, basically. So if you support Donald Trump, you are the alt-right, and now they have to demonize you and attack you with every character assassination they possibly can. It's just a total blanket statement on anybody who's not establishment conservative without any proof. Now they go on, but let's roll to the next one because this is what they really use to fuel their commentary in this segment. Go ahead and roll this video.
Hail Trump! Hail our people! Hail victory!
So some very strange behavior. You can even see a guy running forward doing the hail, it looks like a Hail Hitler salute. These people are clearly mad, crazed. This is a tiny fringe segment of our society, but they're amplifying it and then making a blanket statement that this is the alt-right. So first they're going to just label us as alt-right, and then they're going to decide that alt-right is racist because they also said that these people are alt-right. This is how the mainstream media twists words, twists information, twists logic, and then tries to character assassinate their opposition without any proof, mind you. Now, let's hear what the Trump administration said in response to these people being affiliated with Donald Trump. Go ahead.
Trump has continued to denounce racism of any kind, and he was elected because he will be a leader for every American. To think otherwise is a complete misrepresentation of the movement that united Americans from all backgrounds. So my question is that specific enough in this statement? Shouldn't he be very clear what and who he is calling out here?
Of course it's not clear.
Of course it's not clear. I'm David Gergen. How is that not clear? What else could Donald Trump have said? What other statement could have been made that is less clear? Whoa, you've got these people over here that seem to be racist. What do you say? We do not support racism of any kind at all. What? I don't understand what he said. It's not clear. It's not clear. I'm David Gergen. What happened? Don Lemon. Oh my God. So this is how they operate. Trump's statement is not clear when it could not have been more clear. But this is how confused these people are. Let's roll to the next one.
Clearly, Philip, his team and he are not that stupid to believe that this doesn't matter, that they're not trafficking in racism and bigotry by doing this.
Did you hear what Don Lemon just said? Trafficking in racism and bigotry. Don Lemon just said that the Donald Trump campaign is trafficking in racism and bigotry. So I don't know if Don Lemon knows what trafficking means. So somehow, in Don Lemon's weird reality, Donald Trump's campaign is illegally dealing racism and bigotry. Huh. How does that work? Trafficking racism and bigotry, according to Don Lemon. Well, I would make the argument that if anybody is trafficking racism and bigotry, it's you, Don Lemon. You are the one that is trafficking in racism and bigotry. But again, that comment doesn't even make any sense. You just continue to make yourself look like a jackass. I can't even imagine CNN looking at you thinking you're the future of their network. Oh my gosh, of course they are dead. Let's roll to the next one.
Is so weak. This is from a guy who spent months railing against Hillary Clinton for not saying radical Islamic terrorism in that phrase exactly. Can't come out and say, you know, those racist Nazis that were just in D.C., that's not me. Stay away from me. That's not what I'm about.
So now they want to compare Donald Trump not saying neo-Nazi to Hillary Clinton not saying radical Islamic terror. I do not think that the two are on the same platform. If you point to neo-Nazi attacks, it's a very fringe minority amount. If you talk about radical Islamic terror, this is a threat that the entire planet has been victimized by. I mean, you look at what's happened in Europe, you look at what's happened in the United States. So comparing the two is not even close to the same thing. But this is what they do. They'll reach for straws in order to look for anything to character assassinate Trump, to look for anything that might be a double standard against Donald Trump. So if you polled people in America and you said, what are the biggest issues in America? How many of those people do you think would write down neo-Nazi attacks? Not very many. How many people do you think would write down radical Islamic terror? I would guess a large amount of people. So I'm sorry, but that argument saying, well, I won't Trump say neo-Nazis. He demonizes Hillary for not saying radical Islamic terror. He's a hypocrite. Sorry, that argument does not hold water. Let's roll to the next one.
And it may not matter that he is insulting to people of color, Rebecca, considering the number of people of color who actually voted for him, about 7%.
No, you are what doesn't matter, Don Lemon. It's not that Donald Trump doesn't care about people of color. He clearly does. He went and visited those people. He talked to those people. He's won awards for helping the inner cities. But we're beyond the whole what color your skin is. You are actually the ones who are trafficking in race. That is you. That's what you're doing in this segment. But no, you are the one that doesn't matter, okay? And you are discounting all of the people of color that voted for Donald Trump when you sit here and say that it was a white lash or it's white racism that got Donald Trump elected. That is racist. You are the ones trafficking in racism and bigotry, Don Lemon. You need to take a serious look in the mirror and realize that you are a hypocrite and that the only reason why people of color vote for Donald Trump is because you are the one that doesn't matter. Let's roll to the next one.
I respect what Rebecca said, most of what she said.
David
but
Gergen.
The fact is that
look at Don Lemon's face.
Mr. Bannon represents and has sent out a lot of signals to people as someone you should be scared of, that is going to go after people in various ways. I have people crying in my classroom. I have people who are, grieving about what's happened, but mostly they're scared. They're scared for their families. They don't know what this means. And I'm sorry, when the alt-right is taken as seriously as it is, and we begin to normalize this conversation to say it's all right to do neo-Nazi kind of rhetoric, and we're just going to accept it. It's just part of who we are as Americans. No, it is not all right.
So it's all right, though, for people to threaten people in the Electoral College if they don't switch their vote to Hillary. It's all right when white people get beaten up in the streets for supporting Trump. It's all right when people talk about assassinating Donald Trump on social media. All that is acceptable for David Gergen. But God forbid that the alt-right exist and have any influence on the narrative. God forbid. But how rich is this? David Gergen is admitting that the students in his class are crying. He just admitted it. They're crying in my class. They're scared. Why? Because of the false narratives that you're feeding them. Why should they be scared of Donald Trump? Why should they be scared of Stephen Bannon? There is no substance there. And again, he's mad about neo-Nazi rhetoric. That's fine. Okay, you can be upset about that. That's well within your right. I think we could all agree that this neo-Nazi rhetoric, we don't need to stand for that. There's no room for that. But where is he calling out the assassination calls against Donald Trump? Where is he talking to all the people on social media who are threatening Donald Trump supporters? That just doesn't exist in David Gergen's world. It's only the alt-right that is racist, that is bigoted, and that is violent. That's David Gergen's reality. And then what happens in his class? His students cry because they didn't get their way, and a racist bigot is now running the country. Aw, let's roll to the next one.
But at the same time, you also don't want to give unnecessary oxygen to some of this hateful rhetoric, and there is the potential to do that.
It's Breitbart that gave them the unnecessary oxygen. Breitbart was the one that helped and gave them the platform. That's what Mr. Bannon said.
Right. I'm talking about these neo-Nazis in Washington.
I love how Rebecca Berg just kind of patted him on the head there at the end, like, okay, you know what? You completely missed the point, David, but nice try. I'm glad that you decided to chime in on this one. And of course, the ultimate irony, she's here saying, we don't need to give these people attention. We don't need to give them a platform. This is only making them want to do this more. This is only giving them more firepower. And then David Gergen blames Breitbart for that when he's the CNN pundit on CNN talking about it. This is Don Lemon who is giving them the platform. This is Don Lemon who's putting the spotlight on them, not Breitbart. See, he's missing it altogether. So this is how they work, folks. First, they want to make a blanket statement about any conservative that supports Trump as alt-right. That's how they label us. Then they decide that the alt-right is racist and bigoted. And then at the end, they're going to twist it all together and put a big bow on top of it like a gift and tell you that it's Breitbart that is putting the platform out there for these people to exist. It's Breitbart that is giving them oxygen as they sit there and talk about them for an entire segment, as they sit there and talk about the alt-right all day long, demonizing it. But no, it's Breitbart's fault that the alt-right has a voice, even though that's all they can talk about now. Well, of course, we're all that they can talk about. Why would they want to talk about politics? Why would they want to talk about policy? They are losing on those fronts. So here's the deal, folks. You want to know the funny thing about this? David Gergen and all the Trump protesters are in the same boat as Kim Jong-un. How do you like being in a basket with the leader of communist North Korea, who has now wrote Donald Trump a 9-page letter demanding that hostile nuclear threats stop? Cheeky North Korea has sent a 9-page letter to the U.S. demanding it stops the hostile nuclear threats towards the rogue state and its despotic leader. So wait a second. Again, I point out that the Trump protesters and David Gergen and Don Lemon are now in a basket with Kim Jong-un. So if you want to sit here and lump me in with neo-Nazis without any proof, without any substance, just because we perhaps you think we can both agree on the same president of the country, well, you both protest the same president as Kim Jong-un. So I'll just go ahead and throw you in with the North Korean communists then. How about that? How about that, Don Lemon and David Gergen? You guys are on the same page as Kim Jong-un. How does that feel for you? That must be nice. Now, the funny thing about this is, as Kim Jong-un is telling America to stop threatening them with nuclear attacks, it is North Korea who threatens the United States with nuclear attack. And I've got one story here from CNN. North Korea threatens nuclear strike amid new U.S.-South Korea drill. And this is just one story, folks. I've covered multiple stories a handful of times in the last couple of years. North Korea has threatened a nuclear strike against the U.S. But now here they are telling Donald Trump to tone down his rhetoric as far as nuclear striking North Korea goes. But again, I just want to remind David Gergen and Don Lemon, since they love putting us all into baskets and doing identity politics, you're in the same basket as Kim Jong-un if you want to play that game. New UN chief says politicians are failing losers of globalization. So basically the new UN chief, Antonio Guterres, comes in and says, look, the reason why the rise of nationalism is happening is because the people, the citizens of these countries that are going under globalization are losing. They're losing money. They're losing their jobs. Their economy is collapsing, and they don't like these refugee policies. That's collapsing their culture. And so he comes out and he says this, but it's amazing. Still, CNN, still MSNBC, still everybody will come out and say that the rise of nationalism is due to racism. No, folks, the rise of nationalism is due to the losers of globalization. The fact that all of these countries going under the globalized government, the citizens are losing. The citizens are losing power. The government is getting bigger. The government is getting more empowered. And the citizens don't like it. They're the ones losing, and they're waking up to it. And that is what the rise of nationalism can be attributed to. Now Dems are wondering if identity politics did them in. Well, after losing this election to Donald Trump, who was supposed to be the worst man in the world, they should be questioning everything. But no, the truth is, you want to know what did them in, folks? It was nominating Hillary Clinton that did them in. It was the WikiLeaks that did them in. It was all the corruption and the baggage that Hillary Clinton brought with her to the White House, or would have, including Bill Clinton. It was Project Veritas. It was election theft. It was WikiLeaks. Again, it was Hillary Clinton again. Again, you nominated Hillary Clinton. It was Barack Obama going around henpecking, telling people who they need to vote for. That's what did the Democratic Party in. We will be right back with more on the Infowars Nightly News.
I want to thank the listeners and viewers of Infowars. We've changed the world. Even mainstream media admits that we're bigger than CNN, we're as big as Fox, we're bigger than the BBC, on Quantcast, you name it. I want to thank you all for your support. And on this Thanksgiving and this Black Friday that's coming up, we're going to extend free shipping store-wide to people specifically that have the promo code FREE. Some of the specials are as high as 50% on incredibly high-quality products like Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver. That's 50% off and free shipping. That is a loss leader at InfoWarsStore.com. Trump is My President shirt is about to sell out. It's limited edition. It is for sale at cost, $9.95, shipping included. All you have to do is put in promo code FREE at checkout to get free shipping on top of discounts up to 50% off store-wide at InfoWarsStore.com. You can also call toll-free 888-253-3139. But for myself, the Infowars family, and everybody else in this fight, I want to salute and thank all of you for your support. Whatever you do, keep spreading the articles, the videos to everybody you know. It is absolutely devastating the globalists because we're on the march and the frickin' empire is on the run.